Tottenham 1, Manchester United 0. I'm joined by Ste Howson. Another loss for Manchester United, Ste, and we're down to 15th now after 25 games. What did you make of that?
Nothing that we haven't seen all season.
Yeah.
We did create chances, admittedly not loads, but there was chances that we probably should have done better than not scoring the way we did. We had 12 fit senior first team players. I mean, even that's pushing the boat out because Lindelof's included in that. I'm more annoyed, and I know people have got what they think are valid reasons for why he didn't bring any of the youngsters in. And as we're talking now, he's probably explaining why he didn't play any of the youngsters. I just don't think. I think it's an absolute free hit for him to play some of these kids. I don't think anyone puts pressure on kids. I think the general population of fans acknowledges where everyone is, and just goes, go on lads, and see what you can do. And that really annoyed me. That we've, it's got youth, courage, success running through the middle of the shirt, and there was no courage to play the youth, and certainly no success.
Do you think that? Would you have brought people on earlier? Would you have started people? People like Casemiro, I think, had a poor game today. He's obviously out of Amrim's plans. Do you think bringing him back in was a mistake? How would you have done things differently?
I've seen people talking about Casemiro having a poor game.
Yeah.
I thought Casemiro's positioning was one of the better, certainly out of him and Bruno.
Yeah.
I was watching him, and I actually liked a lot of what he wasn't. It certainly wasn't a perfect game, but I actually liked. I thought he contributed. Felt like he was doing jack shit in the shirt, for example. But there were so many underperforming first teamers that I just think there is no negative to trying one of the youngsters. If you try them and they're not ready, you don't fucking bring them on again. But if you try them and they're a gem, it's a free hit. I don't understand the reluctance to try. This club has been built on the fact that youngsters have been given opportunities. And more often than not, those youngsters take those opportunities. You can just start listing debut after debut after debut after debut. And on their debut, they do well. It's 8, 9, 10, 15 games down the line when you start to recognise that this guy's ending up at Real Sociedad. But it's those debuts you see from players, you go, oh my God. Januzaj was talked about like the next Johan Cruyff, for fuck's sake, after his first few debut games.
Yeah, I mean...
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And
because they get freedom.
I do agree that, we've had so many of those great moments down the years, and I would have brought Chido on earlier. I think maybe in his head he's thinking, if we lose 3 or 4-0, was it a free hit? Because I know 1-0 isn't great and it's another loss, but if we got battered today with 3 or 4 kids on the pitch, would that have, sort of papered over the cracks, or would he still be getting criticism for it being 3 or 4-0? Again, we don't know. It's all hypothetical, and obviously he did. Admittedly, he took the kind of sensible and very much conservative approach to the game, didn't he? No one can possibly deny that. He didn't go for it as far as the kids are concerned. Looking at just sort of the wider picture a little bit, in the last 12 games, 3 wins, 1 draw, 8 losses, 11 goals scored, 22 goals conceded, and 10 points, which would equate to around 32 points across a season, were you to extrapolate that over 38 games. That is relegation form in the last 12 matches. What can we do differently? Go back
on what you just said.
Go on.
You just said, if we'd have played some of these kids and we'd have lost 3-0, we're in the relegation fucking form. Can it get worse? Yes. But you'd feel better about it being worse, at least.
That's a good point.
You'd be like, well, at least Amrim could be like, hey, I'm playing the kids.
Yeah. Rather
than, hey, I'm playing my £75 million centre forward alongside a £70 million central midfielder on top of my £150 million assembled fucking defence on top of the £50 million goalkeeper. Fucking hell. Play the kids and find out what they're about. And then give us something to fucking talk about. Give us something to fucking hang our hats on. I guarantee you they don't, like I said, on a debut, they'll do all right. 5, 6, 10, 15 games down the line, that's when it starts going tits up. Alexa, shut the fuck up. Christ. Right? That's what you got to fucking do, man. You got to just fucking go for it. Fortune favours the brave. He who dares, Rodders. That's what it's all about. No one ever fucking made anything happen by playing it bastard safe. No one ever made anything happen by going, well, let's just fucking... Fuck that noise. Manchester United, you've courage success. You want one of them, you got to do the other ones. Simple as that.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of courage, has there? I mean, just on Amram then,
no fucking success.
No, exactly. I don't want to talk about his future because I think we can speculate and talk about X number of wins over the next number of months and what that will mean. Right now, what do you think he's thinking? What can he do between now and the next game? How can we do something about this? Because you cannot just lose every week. You can't go 3 wins every 12 games as a United manager. That's not going to work, is it?
No. Look, he is a young manager, and he's a young manager that I think he's making mistakes, right?
Okay.
If he's making mistakes, that's okay. You're allowed to make mistakes. The problem is if you don't learn from those mistakes, or at least fucking attempt to learn from some of those mistakes. There was at times today, first half more than the second half, but that could have just been because Spurs changed the way they played. First half, United, I thought, at times, we had a flat 8 in a straight fucking line. Now, I do a lot of reading on football tactics. I don't ever remember seeing the flat 8 fucking defensive setup. If anyone's got any literature on that, I would love to read it and learn more about what the fucking benefits of it are. It looks stupid. You know, and there's a slight consequence of how do you end up in that? Well, one of the wingers has been dragged back into it, and the entire midfield, or both of the midfielders, are into it, and your wing-backs have been pegged back to some degree. But it offers you nothing going forward. It offers you no depth. And to a greater or lesser degree, the way that their goal came from that. There was a little bit of separation between the defence and midfield. How the fuck are nobody reacting? And how the fuck have we played with Andre Onana for a few years now and not realised that he parries a lot of shots? How is it that you're not even attempting to react to that before an attack is?
Yeah.
It was so little effort made to go and get on that ball, the loose ball after the shot. There's a lot of basics that are not right with United. The bigger picture stuff is fucking all over the gaff. But it starts with basics, and you've got to get the basics right. And we're not getting the basics right. I think that... I don't mind him making mistakes. Fergie made mistakes, but he learned from those mistakes, and he rarely made mistakes multiple times. You know, and I think sometimes it's about admitting if you've made the mistake. And I think a mistake that he made today was not fucking just gambling. This club is crying out for positivity. And the other thing is as well, I got into it with some people on Twitter. It's not like me, I know. But I got into it with some people on Twitter saying you can't bring youngsters into this fucking dumpster fire of a team, this, that, and the other. I guarantee you now, every single one of those youngsters completely absolves themselves of the shit show that's going on at this club. Every single one of them youngsters not only thinks that they're better than everybody playing on that pitch, most of them youngsters will think in their heads that they're better than anybody playing in the Premier League. Because that's the mentality that those little fuckers have got to have to get to the level that even they've got when they've not made a first team debut yet. I guarantee all of them sitting there going, I'm probably as good as Messi. Whether it's right, delusion, wrong, whatever, every single one of them will have supreme confidence in their own abilities. I'd be amazed if any of them, as Manchester United under 18s, were even 1% nervous. I bet Victor Lindelof would have been more nervous about coming on than any single one of those players. And I think that's the benefit that you get of bringing on youngsters or not.
Yeah.
And I think it was an absolute free hit. And here's the thing. Those injuries are not going to resolve by weekend. So you're going to be playing the same fucking players again. And I don't know what they did in training yesterday. Murder ball by the sounds of it. Or go-karting. Or rallying. Or summit.
Jousting.
MMA. Yeah. I think jousting's got less fucking injuries per fucking man than whatever the fuck we did yesterday. How do you have 4 players injured in one training session?
I don't know. Like they were jumping out of a 3-story building or something. I have no idea. Madness.
Who did you have in fucking training? The Rock?
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell.
It's bad, isn't it?
Like,
it is bad.
So,
God.
These youngsters will have been involved in training. People are like, oh, they won't have trained too much. They'll have trained more than every single signing we've ever made. All of them. They'll have been fine.
Yeah.
And do you know what? If they're not good enough, it doesn't matter. Because the fucking first team players that are on $500,000 a week aren't fucking good enough. So it doesn't matter. But at least we'd know. And you can move on then. It's just frustrating as fuck when you're sitting there thinking, some positivity to get behind. Imagine Obi Martin had come on with more than 3 minutes of injury time on the clock and fucking don't even have to score, Joe. Rattle one off the bar and get everyone going, ooh.
Yeah.
Then maybe he gets 20 minutes next week. Or Kone comes on and actually fucking drops a shoulder, goes past someone, smashes somebody. It's a fucking unit. Yeah. You can't tell me that he's not capable of doing that shit. You get a bit of positivity going into the next game, and it's something to cling on to, rather than the get back on the bus.
Yeah.
Right, lads? Yeah, I'm fucking glad I came down here on a fucking Sunday night to watch that load of shite. Cheers, boss.
Yeah. I mean, we need anything, don't we? So it's a good point. I do think next game in particular, especially after, the Tottenham team we played as well. I know they had a couple of chances, but you could see anytime we put any pressure on them, they crumbled. They're a bad side. They're not good. It didn't take a lot. Even the chances we did have didn't take a lot of hard work and quality. It was basic stuff. So, yeah, maybe next game we'll see a bit more of that from the start. And like you said, hopefully we don't see mistakes being repeated, because that is the start of the problems, isn't it? Cheers, Steve. Thank you for coming on. We'll be back tomorrow as well, of course, with all the reaction to the game. Make sure you check out Andy's review. Make sure you check out mine and Jay's review as well. Another loss, like Steve said, they're lacking courage, obviously lacking success and lacking youth as well, unfortunately. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in a bit.